Agents, you have 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Running second, 2 out. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series. Open. Chicago with the lead. Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship.
Under it, and to the middle with the 15, to the 20, breaks free of the 25, to the 30, to the outside, 40, midfield, 40, 30 to the coast, 20, 15, Hester 5. Oh, touchdown Bears!
It's 1 goal achieved. The Chicago Blackhawks win the Stanley Cup.
A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it, throw to Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
Yeah, hello. I'm really not sure if this is what you all do, but I really don't have anywhere else to turn.
Hi. I don't even know why I'm calling right now. I'm sorry. My thoughts are going a mile a minute.
My kids are out of state. My buddies from the army are all gone now. I'm really alone.
I left the service last year. My mom just passed away a few months ago. I miss so much time with her. I keep getting calls about the bills, and I'm trying to get a job, but I feel so stuck.
Okay, ma'am. I'm glad you called.
Okay, sir. Let's stay on the line and walk through some things.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We are looking for a few heroes, mentors, trailblazers, innovators. A passion to change lives, spark curiosity, open hearts, and awaken minds. Help students answer the question, who am I? This could be your calling, but this is no job. It's the journey of a lifetime. Be a hero. Be a teacher.
Every day we take steps to keep the people we love safe, but some health risks are easy to miss. Ticks hiding in the yard can spread germs, like the ones that cause Lyme disease. Mice searching for food can spread bacteria that makes us sick. Mosquitoes lay eggs in standing water and can spread West Nile virus and more. Cockroaches are drawn to water in the home, leaving behind allergens that can trigger asthma attacks. Common pests can threaten our health. Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org.
Mental health and learning disorders don't discriminate. 17 million children and adolescents in the United States live with disorders like anxiety, depression, ADHD, and dyslexia. Less than half get the help they need to thrive. Help the Child Mind Institute change these children's lives. Visit childmind.org.
Chicago area kid. A Chicago area kid would lead off the Sox and Cubs first game. 0-2 is there for strike three. Michael Kopech trumpets his presence in this rival.
In half.
The 1-2. And that is that.
Could produce a run.
Swing and a miss. The slider mystified him. Yet at all. So can he provide the first one right here?
Hendricks to Jimenez, and there's a line shot out in the left center for a base hit. It'll get to the wall, and Eloy trying to make his way to second, and he slides in safely.
Andrew Vaughn. Little cue shot first base side. Bellinger collects it, and the Sox get their first run tonight.
Welcome back, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're good.
Are you able to hear me, folks? That's awesome. Sorry, those clips courtesy of NBC Sports Chicago. I don't know what the heck was going on with that audio. Those clips courtesy of NBC Sports Chicago. Can you give me a thumbs up? You guys can hear me? We're all good? I think my guy. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. All right, perfect. Woo! Took me a minute. You know, these technical difficulties. Well, listen, we have a fun show today for you. Despite the audio issues that we had to start with, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We got you. We're back. We're back, baby. Let's see who's on the chat line, and we're jumping already this morning. Part of them were saying, we can't hear you, but that's okay. Cornelius Squalls, what up? Patty Lara, thank you. What up? No, go Cubs. No, they, where they can go. Shorty, what's up, Mr. Shorty? Michelle Walls in the Mickey Ficky house. Armando Lara, don't you blaspheme in here, you son of a gun. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Don't even do that again. Levette Lee, she's in the house. Good morning. Morning, God. What's up, Miha? How are you? Thanks for tuning in. Preston King in the house. Good morning. Brandon Schutz in the house. That's what I'm talking about. I love it. And listen, if Armando or if Junior and Patty are in the house, then that means that Armando and Meterio, Lara, the fourth, and Jeremiah are not far behind. Dude, that is awesome. Guys, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. And we have a phenomenal show. Oh, my man, Charles, Edward, Bingham, McDavid is in the house. That's what I'm talking about. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thanks for tuning in. But listen, we have an awesome show. Thank you. Thank you, Money. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Hey, it's my show. Damn it. I could do what I want. I can do what I want. Damn it. Cornelius, don't you tell me. Hey, we have a phenomenal show for you at 9:30. Saul Rodriguez is going to join us. He's from We Are Regal Radio, talking the Crosstown, talking Crosstown Classic. Big win for the Cubs. Michael Kopech started off great yesterday, struck out the side in the first, and trust me, if I was there, I would have been talking so much shit to Cub fans. And I'm glad I wasn't, because, man, I would have ate crow big time. Big time. That was not pretty yesterday at all. But Saul is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. We're going to talk about that. And then where both teams are going. Because the Cubs are in a situation where they're on the fence. They're not quite sure what they're going to do. Are they buyers or sellers? Do you trade Cody Bellinger and get some assets for him and try to re-sign him in the offseason? Do you trade Stroman? Same thing. Or do you keep him and then have them potentially walk away and get nothing for them? So there's a lot going on for the Cubs. So Saul and I are going to discuss this at 9:30. At the top of the hour at 10 o'clock, my man Lester Wilfong Jr. He's editor-in-chief of Windy City Gridiron. And you know what? We are excited. I told you, but there was an old billboard that was on 290 coming in. All right, it's just at First Avenue. So if you're coming in from 294 or you're coming in from the west, all right, heading into the city. So I think it's like in Maywood or something. I'm not sure where exactly what town that is on 290 and First Avenue. And it was a Miller Lite sign. And it said, baseball divides us and football unites us. Okay? Because right now we're in the middle of a civil war. And it's not even close. All right. My White Sox are horrible. That'd be great if they could split today. That'd be awesome. But I digress. We're all football fans. And football season has started. The Bears reported yesterday their first helmet practice. It'll probably just be helmets and t-shirts and helmets today. I don't believe they have full padded practice until next week. I remember hearing it was Wednesday. Don't quote me on it, but I believe it's Wednesday, a week from today, excuse me, is their first padded practice. Football season is here. We're all excited, and we have a lot of expectations for this team. And we're going to talk to Lester Wilfong Jr. about that and get his take on it. All right. They're still signing. They just signed Isaiah Ford, a wide receiver. Haven't signed a DN yet. Haven't signed a big name, or I don't want to say big name. I mean, they haven't signed a defensive end yet. Okay, so we're still waiting for that, and that could happen at any moment, any day now. Houston is the guy that is the person that I've been seeing a lot talk about how it makes sense, how it just works, blah 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 blah. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out, because I think this would be that would be the best thing for them, just to, okay, because they didn't get the 3 tech they want, or the I think they wanted to get something. All right, a stopgap, a year contract, a prove-it-year contract, or a maybe a 2-year deal. All right. So Justin Houston is the name I've been hearing. So we'll see. We'll see if it comes to fruition. I was just looking on Twitter, according to Peggy Kaczynski. She says an NFL source confirms that the Bears are among some of the teams that are interested in Justin Houston. So, very reputable source. And Peggy Kaczynski, she was covering the beat for years, the Chicago sports scene for years. She's back on it now, I believe, and which is good. She was one of the ladies that I really look forward to. I really enjoyed. I respected her work. So, yeah. So we're going to talk to Lester Wilfong at 10 o'clock. Phenomenal show. But let's get right to it, folks. Since we had that little audio incident, we gotta hustle, because 9:30 we got my man Saul Rodriguez coming on. So, guys, you know how we do the first segment of every show. It's called Top of the Morning.
It won't come just when you want it.
Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you.
There we go, baby. The first top of the morning topic. Man, this hurts. This hurts. The Cubs, they beat my White Sox yesterday. They didn't beat them. They whooped them. 7-3 yesterday over on the South Side. My goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Was that a frustrating game or what? Let me tell you, the professor was in rare form yesterday. He got the victory. He's 4-4 on the season. He went 6 1/3. 4 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned runs, a walk, 4 punchdowns. Dansby Swanson, as you see here on the overlay here, he was 3 for 3, hitting 2 home runs, his 11th and 12th of the season. He drove in 4 runs yesterday. Christopher Morel went back-to-back with him once. He was 2 for 4, hitting his 16th homer of the year, driving in his 44th RBI of the season. Nico Horner, he was 3 for 5 with a homer, his 7th, and his 5th, driving in his 55th RBI of the season. It was frustrating for my White Sox, and it looked good. Kopech looked really good. He started off, unfortunately, he got the loss. He's 4-9 on the season. He started off the game striking out the side in the first inning, so he got the loss. He's 4-9, as I said. He's been 5 innings, 9 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned. Thank you, Tim Anderson. 1 walk, 5 Ks. Eloy Jimenez with a double. He was 2 for 3 with a double, his 13th. Andrew Vaughn was 1 for 4, driving in 2 ribbies. And unfortunately, right now, the White Sox are nice, even, and neat. 20 games under 500. Embarrassing. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's nothing else you can say. This is embarrassing. And now everybody is talking about just blowing it up. It's time to blow them up. And I couldn't agree more. The only way that I would even consider saying not blow this up is if you bring in a manager here. You bring in a manager who can turn this thing around. But to do that, you're gonna have to give up some power. You're gonna have to give up some form of control. Where the manager makes the lineups, the manager makes the calls, and not the front office. And I don't see the White Sox doing that. That's the only way I'd see it. Here's an indictment on them. Here is an indictment on this team, this organization. There's so many people who want players on the White Sox. People are looking. There are so many scouts last night. There are going to be so many scouts there today. There are so many people on this White Sox team that people want. Obviously, Lou Bob, Dylan Cease, those guys are untouchable. All right, but people are still going to ask about them. All right, if you're a GM worth your salt, you're still going to ask about them. and then have Rick Hahn say, you know what? No, they're not on the market, which is fine. There's so many players on this team that other teams want. Why the hell are we not? Why are we 20 games under 500? If there's so many players on this team that people want, you know, if this doesn't show you how important front offices are, I don't know what does. Because they make the decisions. They brought in this bullshit manager, Renteria, and not Renteria, Grifol. I like Grifol. I do. I really, really do. But giving him this underperforming team now as a rookie manager, he's got to make changes. That's a bad recipe for success, and you're seeing that come to fruition. 20 games under 500 with all the talent we have. Yeah, it's frustrating, to say the least. But don't forget, my guy's coming on in a few minutes, and we are going to talk about both sides of town and what their outlook is. Yesterday, the Sky. Man, oh man, oh man. The girls, it's going to be a rough one. I told you it's going to be a rough one. The Sky, they fall to the Las Vegas Aces. Now, that's a super team in the WNBA. The 107-95, Kalia Copper, 37.6 rebounds. Great game, but it wasn't enough. All right. You got stars upon stars upon stars on that Las Vegas Aces team. And it's it's not good. That's all I gotta say. Moving on to the next top of the morning topic. This was scary. Bronny James, the son of NBA superstar LeBron James, who's a freshman at USC, collapsed and had suffered cardiac arrest on Monday at practice. Scary. You know, it doesn't matter who you are, how much money you have, how famous you are, how powerful you are. All that shit does not matter. All right? When your child is in a situation like this. Fortunately, he was at practice. It was a team function, team-sponsored event. It was practice. So he wasn't just working out on his own or with some friends. Staff was there. He was in the ICU shortly. So he's out of ICU now. He is in stable condition. And it's just glad to see. I like LeBron. I'm not a huge LeBron fan. But this has nothing to do with me being a fan. It has me being a human being. When your son is in cardiac arrest, man, I feel for him. I'm glad for him, for both of them. And just thank the good Lord that, it was a team-sponsored event. Like I said, it was practice, and they had the proper medical professionals there to help get him to the hospital on time so they can make sure that he's good. And he is, as I said, he is in stable condition. And just thoughts and prayers go out to LeBron, his son, and his entire family. Well, listen, I know we didn't get to words, and we'll probably do that at the end of the show. It's because of the audio difficulties we had early on. But we're going to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we're going to welcome our guest, my guy Saul Rodriguez from More We Are Regal Radio. We're going to talk about this game yesterday. Embarrassing, and some people can't believe. They're like, "Why aren't you at the game? Why aren't you at the game?" I'm like, because it's on the South Side. I said, I'm not giving this organization any more money. They pissed me off. They've underperformed, and they really don't give a shit about us as fans. All right, they've done these things, and unlike your Cub fans who'll still go to Wrigley Field when they don't put a good product out there, I'm not going there. And by the way, thank you for the sellout yesterday. That was the first sellout of the season, Cub fans. We appreciate it. Sorry. But anyway, I was not giving them my money. I'm not. Now, if I get a free ticket, cool, and you're buying me drinks, cool. Then I'm not paying for anything. But no. Anyway, let's take a quick break. On the other side, Saul coming up to join me. Don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
How do you take care of your mind health?
For my mental health, I meditate in the mornings.
I have my dogs. They're the best.
I just find ways that help me just relax.
Finding things that make me happy, like being close to my family.
I meditate a lot and read books.
I have hobbies outside of the game. I'm able to switch off. I'm able to turn my brain off from the game of basketball.
Your mind health matters.
Your mind health matters.
Yeah, hello. I'm really not sure if this is what you all do, but I really don't have anywhere else to turn.
Hi. I don't even know why I'm calling right now. I'm sorry. My thoughts are going a mile a minute.
My kids are out of state. My buddies from the army are all gone now. I'm really alone.
I left the service last year. My mom just passed away a few months ago. I miss so much time with her. I keep getting calls about the bills, and I'm trying to get a job, but I feel so stuck.
Okay, ma'am. I'm glad you called.
Okay, sir. Let's stay on the line and walk through some things.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
With that heel issue.
In the air, left field, well struck, way back, on its way, and gone. Dansby swats it.
All right, getting his bat in the lineup.
Drilled in the air out towards left center. This one back on its way.
Belted a long two-run homer right down the left field line his first time.
In the air, left field. Benintendi back. And it's gone. He's done it again. 2 for 2.
Show the Cubs 5-1.
Nico Horner puts a charge into that one. Left field. Nico having a night. Offense, Steve.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Yeah, thanks, Steve. Thanks. Son of a gun. It's just all home run clips on that one, right? Just all their home run clips. Thanks, Steve. Those clips courtesy of the Marquee Network. And that was the ass whooping and the beatdown the Cubs gave the White Sox yesterday, 7-3. Over on the south side, there's nothing like getting not just losing at home, but getting your ass whooped. Getting your ass whooped by the intercity rival. Not fun. Man, Cub fans you know how many messages I got yesterday? Text messages and all types of stuff. And somebody left me a voice message singing "Go Cubs Go." I was like, when I see him to kick you in your baby nuts, I was so pissed. And I couldn't do anything. What could I do? I couldn't even respond. I just left it alone. And he's laughing his ass off today. I know he is. Probably still laughing at it. If he's watching, he's laughing his ass off. But anyway, my first guest my first guest is the baseball guy. And you know what I needed to talk to a baseball guy regarding this. He works for We Are Regal Radio or War Media. You can find him on Twitter, and it's funny because I forgot his Twitter. You can find him on Twitter as Saul_R26. Guys, it's welcome back to Shawn and Maya, Saul Rodriguez. Saul, what's up, Papa? Good morning.
Hey man, good morning. How you doing, man?
Could be better if they showed up.
Yeah.
Oh boy, it was not nice. It was not nice. Yeah, I was frustrated with yesterday's game. And Kopech started off good. Struck out the side in the first. I was like, whoa, okay. All right, hold on, player. I think he came to play today. And the Cubs was like, hold my beer. And they went to work on him, got to work in the second inning. Your thoughts on the game yesterday? Both for the Cubs and the White Sox.
Yeah, I mean, I think this game was like, the encapsulation of where these two teams are in right now and the situations they're in right now. I think, the Cubs are playing good baseball right now coming out of the break, and the Sox, they're obviously trending that they're going to sell and most likely going to do that. So it really just kind of, explained their situations pretty much as it is. And yeah, as you mentioned, Kopech, he started off well, and I think that's kind of how his season has been. He's had, he's shined in certain starts, and the other ones he's fallen apart. I think that's how it was yesterday, and it didn't work out there. But the Cubs came on mashing, man, and then I think they obviously that catch by Suzuki, I think was that was the probably the turning point of the game where it could have gone either way at that point. Yep. And the Cubs were able to edge the White Sox. So Yeah, man. That game, like I said, shows pretty much how where these two teams are at the moment. And I think today, with this pitching matchup, I think it might be a little bit of the same, but we'll see what happens because anything can happen in the series.
Yeah, yeah. I'm expecting the Cubs to smell blood in the water and go for the kill. The Cubs are in a position where they're in a tough spot. All right, they're in a really tough spot. Do they buy? Do they sell? All right, you're still not in first place. However, you're close. All right, you're playing ball. You're playing great ball. You got probably the hottest hitter in Major League Baseball, either him or uh, 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 Manny Machado in the last month. All right, one of those two. I mean, Freddie Freeman's having a better overall season, but in the last 30 days, one of those two guys is it. What do you do? What do you think the Cubs are going to do? Are they going to sell? Are they going to hold out? I mean, Belly is swinging, looking like his MVP self. Do you trade him and try and get pieces back and try and re-sign him in the offseason? Because they're not. Scott Boras ain't talking extension now. He's like, no. We're waiting. We're waiting to see we're going to the highest bidder. So what do you do? Do you hold them? And if you trade them, what does that say to your fan base that, we're not really going for it all?
Yeah, no, you're right. I think it's it's a tough decision. And even like I've seen many people say it, the Cubs are on a day-to-day type thing right now because you don't know, they lose one game and then all the fans are like sell and then you win another one and they're like buy. So it's a very, very weird situation. I think ultimately they might do a little bit of both. Buying and selling. I think a lot of people have been saying the fact that also if they were to sell, maybe like trade Bellinger but keep Stroman. As we all know, Stroman, he's been wanting to stay here. The extension talks haven't gone anywhere at this point, but as we all know, Ian Happ's those didn't look like they were going anywhere, and then he signed the extension in April. So yeah, I mean, it could go either way, and I think that now looking at it from like a week, like it's actually less than a week from today, the trade deadline. It's really going to be up to the minute, last minute that they're going to probably look at what they're going to do, because if they go into the trade deadline a few games over 500, because right now they're 2 games under 500, then they might just look to straight up buy, because as you said, it's if they trade both Bellinger and Stroman and they're hot. What kind of messages that send to the fan base that has already, endured 2 straight sell-offs, and, at some point you got to start, cashing in on these guys. Even if, look, you're not going to, I think with Bellinger, they get a draft pick if he, rejects their team option.
Offer.
Qualifying offer. And Stroman, if you keep him and he leaves, then you're not getting anything for him. So it's just a crazy situation. I'm glad I'm not Jed Hoyer. It's gonna be, we're gonna find out if they're gonna be buyers or sellers, I think, later this week, honestly.
Yeah, it's a tough call, and I don't know what I'd do. I mean, I think I'd go for it. Truth be told, you got a hot Bellinger. All right, Dansby Swanson came to work yesterday. Nico Horner. I mean, I know it was one game, but I think this is a time where your stars or your people that you expect a lot from are stepping up. They need it. You're heading down the stretch. You got to come back into the division. You have all the firepower to do so. I think it tells the fan base, like, you know what, we're all in. I mean, especially if you're buyers and you bring somebody in, it really tells the fan base, and it shows. And if you don't and you lose them, okay, then you understand. But the fans will understand. And you'll have some people you always have the people, I told you should have traded them and got something. But it'll show the fan base, generally speaking, that you're going for it, that you're trying to win, that you're not just saying, hey, you know what, we'll keep having you come and fill up our stadium and not really put a good product out. I think that's what a lot of fans would appreciate, would respect. But you're right. I'm glad I'm not Jed Hoyer, because that is a tough spot to be in. Let's go to the South Side, unfortunately, where all this beatdown is taking place. The White Sox, what do you see with them, man? Give me your thoughts on them as the season has progressed. Obviously, I would think you would find it a disappointing one, but your thoughts on the White Sox as of today, July 26, 2023.
Yeah, no, it's been really tough, and you kind of have hope that the Sox will be able to find a way back and get hot, but it just hasn't happened. And they've had a couple spurts where you're like, are they back? Are they back? They get a couple of winning series, and you're like, what's going on? But no, they haven't been able to stay on that horse. And I think their season is for all intents and purposes, it's over with. I think with the way it's looking at right now, because they're going to sell, and who knows how many players are going to sell off at this point. With many people in the conversation. And I heard you talk about how, Cease and Luis Robert off the table. I mean, I agree with that. I think they shouldn't deal those guys, but I've seen plenty of conversations that, Dylan Cease or that, is getting some interest from the Houston Astros. So I don't know exactly what the Sox are going to do, but I'll tell you one thing: if they're looking to trade Luis Robert, that would make like the least of sense out of all the things that they could do, since he's they have him under control for years beyond this year. So yeah, I think where they're at right now is very disappointing, but I think that ultimately a little bit of retooling here, and then I don't necessarily think that they will trade Tim Anderson, even though a lot of people see it as a possibility. I think it's made a lot of sense what some pundits have said. Where to just keep him, make him or have him build up his value for the offseason or even next trade deadline, because of course he's got another year in the contract. So yeah, I mean, plenty of decisions for the White Sox they're not easy ones, but at the same time, you got plenty of pieces, and you're going to get a good amount back, I'm sure, especially if you trade guys like, Lynn, and even consider guys like, like I said, Cease. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens, but that, like I said, they got a lot of decisions, and as much as I don't want to be Jed Hoyer, I mean, being Rick Hahn, not only for the decisions he's going to make, but the scrutiny he's going to take regardless is he's in the hot seat for sure.
Yeah, he is. As we're joined by Saul Rodriguez from We Are Regal Radio, talking Chicago right here in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. I think Rick Hahn has done this to himself. I think the ego part, and I went on a rant on this about 2-3 weeks ago. It's the ego part of this, and his ego got in the way where he had a chance to sign one of 4 World Series winning managers. Started with Ozzie, Bruce Bochy, Joe Madden, Joe Girardi. He had a chance to hire any one of those guys last year. All right, Ozzie was the obvious choice, not obvious, but he was a fan favorite. All right, he didn't even interview Bochy. Okay, and look what he's doing with the Tigers in the AL West. No interview with Girardi or Madden. So my question is, how much does this falls on Rick Hahn? Because you need a manager with some gravitas. You need a manager who comes in carrying weight, because this is a veteran, an underperforming veteran team. They all got their money. They're not living up to their contracts, and they get a rookie manager in Pedro Grifol. They get a rookie manager who's obviously he is controlled by the front office, and I think that's the issue: is that Madden, Guillen, Girardi, Bochy, those guys wouldn't have been controlled. They would not be puppets the way Grifol is. So how much of all this is Rick Hahn, and should he be on the hot seat, because this is his manager? All right, this guy is 20 games under 500, and obviously we're seeing it wasn't Tony La Russa last year or the previous 2 years. It's something else.
Yeah, no, a lot of it is definitely on it, and I think a lot of the decisions that he made or didn't make in the last few years for sure are on the table. And I think honestly, looking at this White Sox team and the lack of hitting, the lack of a lot of the guys executing on the pitching side as well. I don't know if the manager would make a difference right now. I think even if you had one of the best managers in the game managing, I don't know if that would work, but I would have tried it for sure, man. I know a lot of people wanted Isaac Guillen. I've heard interviews with him, and he was saying from when other times where he's been interviewed. I think he said he might have gotten interviewed by the Padres or other teams. He didn't really like how baseball is played now and how the thought process. So I don't think he's ever going to return. But that would have been, I think personally, just with what the White Sox needed, like a little kick in the rear, that probably would have been a perfect guy to put in there. But yeah, no, it's very much so that Rick Hahn is in the hot seat. I think they're going to definitely look into his contract once the season ends, because man, I mean, there's not much that has gone right in a lot of ways with this team in all shape and form. So yeah, I mean, Rick Hahn for sure is going to feel the heat. I think, even like I said before, no matter what he does, right? Even if he trades and gets some good deals, I think either way, Sox fans are so pissed at him that it's not going to be good for him regardless.
No, it's not. And you know what? And my question to you is this is another one. Just I thought of saw one of my comments my boys made. What will there be a Sox Fest again this year? You know, I personally think that they did not have a Sox Fest because they were cowards. I personally think that they didn't have because they didn't have a Sox Fest because of the Q&A part. Fans would have blasted Kenny and Jerry if Jerry was up there, but definitely Kenny and Rick Hahn. They would have been some tough questions, and there might have been even an incident, like and because Sox fans were very passionate about our team, and there might have been some very pointed questions. Do you think they might have a Sox? They're going to have a Sox Fest this year because after the 20 games now, what are they going to finish? What if they finish 30 games under 500 or hell 40 games under 500? You think they're going to want to face the music now after not facing it last year? Your thoughts?
Yeah, I know that's a really tough look, man. I mean, you're already having a disappointing offseason, and then you tell fans that you're not going to have a Sox Fest. Yeah, that's
man. We were pissed like a mother, Hubbard boy.
Yeah, I know. And so
and then the Cubs had one. The Cubs had their Cub Fest, and we couldn't have one. Oh.
Yeah, no. So I don't honestly, man. That would be the worst thing they could do. I think at this point they got to face the music. I think they got to do it, and I mean, that's the least you can do, honestly. If you're not gonna do anything for the team in the over the course of the season or over the course of last off season, you're not gonna do them any favors. I mean, you gotta do something. Something's got to give, right, with these guys because they got to answer to somebody, and if they're gonna answer to anyone, it's not gonna be the players. They got to answer the fans because they're the ones that pay out of their pocket to go to these games, and regardless, so. Yeah, I hope they do it, just for the sake of White Sox fans because they deserve it. I mean, they deserve a lot. They're not getting much of anything from this team.
Yeah, I hope they do too, and I would love to hear the questions because my ass will be there. All right, I'll definitely be there, and I want because I want to hear. I want to see them squirm. I want to see them, and I want those tough, poignant questions asked. And not the watered down, politically correct version that a lot of media people ask us so they don't get their credentials taken away. I want real fans asking real questions because, we need answers. All right. This is, I watched Frank Thomas yesterday on the post game and he goes, I saw it's his fourth year doing the post game, pre and post. He's like, I thought by year 3, they would have won a World Series. And that was the plan. They should have. He goes, and now he goes, look, they're not even close. They're nowhere even close to the playoffs. So this is in one of the things that he said, I remember, was it 18, 19? He said, and they're all, most of them were still in the minors. He said, put them all in AA together, whether they're AAA ready or just single A ready, because put them all in AA. He goes and have them start playing together as a team. So this way, he goes, you build continuity, you build friendships, you build chemistry, you build bonds. So when you get up to the show, all right, you've built a relationship. You're friends with this guy. You're friends with that guy. You played already AA, then AAA, and now here. And they didn't do that, and it was pretty odd. And then and I heard Frank say yesterday that he thinks they should sell. That's going to be tough. But let me ask you this: are we still going to run it back again? Because first of all, who's going to want Yoan Moncada? Still my favorite White Sox. All right, I hate the way he's performing. Man, that would have been a big feather in his cap yesterday if stupid as Heiya Suzuki didn't make that play, a nice grand slam in the crosstown, but I digress. Who's going to want him? All right, is anyone going to want Eloy? Eloy's always injured. He's still got a contract. It's still favorable, but you still want a guy who's injured. You think, what about TA? All right, again, Lewis Robert, Dylan Cease, they're untouchable. So now you're going to run back with a lot of the same dudes. No one's really going to want Berger, I don't believe. Although he has shown a lot of pop, we're still going to run it back with a lot of the same people. Your thoughts on them going forward next year with a lot of the same people? Because not a lot of people are going to want to trade for those guys. Those specific guys are core. And they're talented, just not performing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right, man. I think, the best thing to do for them is probably package those guys, right? Is if you're going to trade them, if you're going to trade certain guys, it's probably package them. I mean, that's what I've heard in like when I've seen conversations with, people have talked about Gavin Sheets being traded with, Cease or being traded with Giolito or something like that. But no, yeah, I mean, you're right. I think that that's why they got to overhaul this, whether it be, now or whether it be at the offseason, because you can't be running out the same guys every season expecting something to change. I think we've seen plenty. I think we've seen enough of this same White Sox team to know what the results that you're going to get. Because and you can say what you want, because I've even seen some Sox fans talk about, hey, Crochet's not here. If you would have been playing, blah blah this, the bullpen this. But you know what? At the end of the day, these guys aren't hitting, and looking at next year. If you're going to run out there, Tim Anderson and Eloy Jimenez and Jake Berger, I think you're just going to be getting the same exact results. And that's why I think there's got to be some kind of movement now or in the offseason. You got to change something up. And I think that's why, I don't blame them if they go full overhaul and trade everyone but Cease and Robert, or keep Robert, because it's the same. It's a lot of the same. And I think that if you package up these guys in the right deals, you'll get a lot, and even some major league talent as well, especially in a deal for like a guy like Cease or a guy, So yeah, I think they got to make some moves, and a lot of those deals are gonna matter in the the near future. So I don't know. They got a lot of things, a lot of decisions to make, and Sox fans, they're probably not gonna be happy either way.
No, we're not. We're not. Guy, we're joined by Saul Rodriguez from We Are Regal Radio, talking Chicago baseball right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. And it was funny because there's such a dichotomy. It's like I sit there and I said, there's so many talented players on the White Sox that people want, but then they're not going to, they're not at the same, by the same time, people aren't going to trade for them. It sounds like I'm contradicting myself, but I'm really not. There's so many talented players on this White Sox team, and you've seen them all. We've seen flashes from all of them. From Yuan, from Eloy, from Tim, from Luba, from Kopech, from Vaughn, Trushi. I mean, all these guys that we've seen talent, we've seen flashes from, but consistency is the biggest issue for this team. Andrew Vaughn started off well; he was knocking the ball all over the place, and then he's kind of cooled off. He's kind of gone into like the Homer Simpson meme where he just slides back into the bushes. Like, where you been, Vaughnie? You know what I mean? And like I just need. I don't know what to expect from this team, what to do with this team, because now we have another rebuild on the way if we're able to ship off pieces. And, man, we've been waiting for a long time. All right, 05 is, 18 years away? 05 was 18 years ago? Yeah. That's a long time, bro. There's there's seniors in high school who haven't seen a White Sox World Series. It's a long time, and we need to as a third largest market in the country, we need to change that, and that's really frustrating, and I don't know what this front office is going to do, but as long as they continue to get puppets for their managers, I don't think this thing is going to end ever, because if you start a rebuild now, you're looking at least another 4 or 5 years. So now we're going on, what is it, 18? Now we're going on 23, 25 years since our last World Series. I know it was 86 for that, but damn, I don't want to wait another 86, and I'll be dead and buried at that point. It's going to be frustrating. Who do you think's closer then? The Cubs or the Sox to winning another World Series? The Cubs got a lot of pieces, but some are on one-year deals. Stroman wants out. Stroman's being coveted by a lot of others. Who do you think's closer to winning a World Series?
I think as we stand right now, it's probably the Cubs, just because of the pieces they got. Even the ones that aren't on the one-year deals. I mean, with guys like Christopher Morel, Swanson, Horner, they're probably closer. It's crazy to think to me that that they are, because even just a couple of years ago, I mean, even as you're mentioning with the Sox, some people expected a World Series by now, or even in the next couple of years. I was one of those guys. I with my buddies that are Sox fans, I was like, man, 2024, I bet you it's going to be like the Sox and Padres. And look at where these two teams are at right now. The Padres and Sox both have a disappointing season. So, yeah, I think most likely it's the Cubs right now. But, we'll see what happens with those guys to see if they keep one of those guys in Stroman and Bellinger or whatever. But regardless, they have a lot of guys in the minor league system, I think, that are coming up. They're going to come up real soon, like Pete Armstrong, like Kevin Alcantara. So, they have guys coming up. They're probably, I would say, closer because of the fact that also the White Sox are probably going to trade a lot of these guys, and it's going to set them back. So, yeah, I would say it's the Cubs, but even then, at the end of the day, prospects are prospects, until they're not. So, we'll see what happens with them. But I think ultimately it's the Cubs right now.
Unfortunately, Saul, I cannot disagree with you. I cannot disagree with you. This is a win. This is a chance where the White Sox should be, the according to our projections years ago, it should be in the middle of their playoff. It should be where the Cubs were at 15, 16, and 17. You know what I mean? With all the talent that they have, I think a lot of it has to do. And don't get me wrong, players got to play. All right, because you can have a culture, you can have this, you can have that, you can have everything right, but you still have to execute. But I also think that the manager is a big part of that. I think the front office is a big part of that. When you have a culture, and we're seeing a culture shift here. If you look at the Bears, all right, people, how many people are excited about the Bears? Damn near everybody. They won only last year. All right, why? Because it's the culture that they see. They see the development of the young star in Justin Fields. They see how this coach is bringing it along. Same thing in any sport. A culture that is set. All right, that is properly set. A good culture gives people optimism, gives them hope. And you don't have to have the best talent to win. You just have to have the best team or the team hottest going into the playoffs. But that's also built by culture. And as long as this White Sox team continues to have this bullshit culture of the front office thinking they're the smartest men in the room, this is not going to go anywhere. I mean, it's working for the North Side, but you also have a Grizzly vet as a manager who's the two-time World Series champion, who understands, and he can kind of be the buffer and be the, I can deal with the front office, but I also am still close enough to these players. It hasn't been that long I've been removed that I can connect with these players, and it's frustrating. And I don't know what else to say about my Sox, except I ain't going unless I do have to go Sunday though. It's my good friend's birthday, so I'm going on a secondary market and I got my ticket for $16. So bump them. I ain't giving the White Sox any more of my money because I am totally pissed with how they've run their organization. And I'm not even going for giveaways anymore. I was just going to go get giveaways and come back. I'm not even going for that anymore. Like, bump them. I'm tired of them. And I think that's how a lot of Sox fans are. And you know what? Rightfully so. Last question. Dylan Cease is going. My guy, Junior. And no, he's not getting traded. But also Lance Lynn. You think Lance Lynn is gone? There's a ton of talk about him. As a fourth or fifth guy. He's a veteran, a lot of moxie, a lot of experience. What about him going very, very soon?
Yeah, I think he's one of the guys that are probably guaranteed gone because, I've seen some rumors that he has said he wants to go to a contender. So, I think any team, no matter what the situation is, it's one of those things in baseball where even if a guy's struggling like he is, you put him in a different situation, you never know what you're going to get. And obviously this is a guy who's a wildly vet. I mean, this guy's he has been through everything. I mean, he's been an all-star. He's been in the World Series. He's pitched for, World Series championship teams. He's done everything in the game. He's the type of guy you want in your dugout, regardless of his stats. So I think he's one of the guys for sure that's going to be gone, along with a Giolito and so
good riddance.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah. So I think he's for sure gone. I think any team that's in competition right now, like the Rangers, for example, I think would be a good fit for him to go back there. So we'll see. But Lance Lynn for sure, despite his rough season, I think can contribute in a lot of more ways than a lot of good teams would love to have.
So great stuff, Papa. I appreciate it. Do me a big favor though, before you go, let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Of course, man. Thank you for having me. And you can follow me on Twitter at Saul_R26 and check out all our podcasts on at War Media on YouTube. We're on TikTok, Instagram, all that. So again, at War Media, check us out, and I appreciate you having me on, man.
Hey, good stuff, Papa. We'll be in touch soon. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right.
All right. Now. Guys, that's Saul Rodriguez talking baseball with us. Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk we'd be in this situation today? Both teams would be where they're at today. I don't know. But listen, we got to take a quick break. And on the other side of the break, we're going to talk some exciting things. Talk about our Bears. So don't go anywhere, folks. My man Lester Wilfong Jr., he's going to join us next. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
Off the fake. Fields against the grain. Finds Jesse
with time. Delivers down the field. And Converted. Still running. Big one-way to Fields stumbling. Trying to cut it back. Justin Fields making magic happen. There goes Fields. Touchdown.
How do you take care of your mind health?
For my mental health, I meditate in the mornings.
I have my dogs. They're the best.
I just find ways that help me just relax.
Finding things that make me happy, like being close to my family.
I meditate a lot and read books.
I have hobbies outside of the game. I'm able to switch off. I'm able to turn my brain off from the game of basketball.
Your mind health matters.
Your mind health matters.
Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms. On Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel, you can find us at Sports Zone Chicago. And on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
Everybody in a work zone is someone somebody.
This is my mom. She works for KDOT.
This is my dad.
This is my mom.
This is my daddy.
This is my sister.
This is my daddy.
This is my son, Scott. He was killed while working in a highway work zone. When you drive through a work zone, drive like a life depends on it. Because it does.
Order up. When I want to give up, I try to focus on getting to the next minute, then the next hour, and the next day.
It might not seem like it right now, but there are people out there like me who want to listen and support you for the long haul.
And I found someone to talk to, someone who listened.
You are not alone.
Hey, this is Dr. J, and I listen to Shawn and Maya in the morning.
You said last week 4,000 yards could be an individual goal to accomplish this season.
I mean, yeah. Of course, a Bears quarterback hasn't done it yet, so that would be cool. And with the help of this guy, hopefully I can get there. So yeah.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning at Sports Zone Chicago. That was our QB1, Justin Fields, yesterday at the presser. I like it. You know what? I like it for this reason more so than anything. He's ballsy enough to say it. Yeah, I want to get 4,000 yards. That is a goal of mine. All right, we all have individual goals. Football is the ultimate team sport. Okay, ultimate. My next guy, the guest, can confirm that as an offensive lineman. He knows damn well it's the ultimate team sport, not just from his fraternity of offensive linemen, but the quarterback behind you, the running backs, receivers, defense, everything. But there's also room for individual achievement, to borrow a phrase from The Untouchables and Robert De Niro. Individual achievement before he beats the hell out of the dude with the bat. But that's another story. It's good to put your goals out there. You want to succeed. And let's not forget, all right, as much as football it entertains us and we go, it's money. Follow the money. Justin Fields he's eligible for an extension, okay, at the end of this season. If he comes off of this season with 4,000 yards or pretty close to it, 36, 38, 3,900, man, first of all, they're going to pick up his fifth-year option. Like, okay, we'll give us another year before we'll do it again. But they'll be on a hot seat. I like it. I like the balls. There's an air of confidence in this kid, this young man. And I don't think it's teetering towards arrogance. I just think it's very, very, very confident in your ability. We're going to talk to my next guest about that. Man, he's a good friend of the program. He's the editor-in-chief. He's the head honcho over there at Windy City Gridiron. You can find him on Twitter at Wilt Fong Jr. Guys, let's welcome back to Shawn and Maya, our guy Lester, Wilt Fong Jr. Lester, what's up, Papa? Good morning.
Doing good, Shawn. How you doing today?
Man, you see, I'm fired up, bro. I am fired up. My White Sox suck, so the Bulls suck, the Hawks suck. Even though they got Connor Bedard, they're gonna suck for a while. It's the only team that's giving me hope, unless you're one of those people on the north side, but we don't talk about them.
It's a fun time to be a Bears fan. Camp opens today, and I can't wait to get out there. Hopefully the weather holds up the whole next few weeks here, because last year I had tickets, I think, to 4 different days, and 3 of the days were canceled because of the weather. So hopefully this year the fans are allowed to get out there to House Hall and have some fun.
Yeah, that'll be really, really cool to do that, to see them, to watch them. Because you know what? As much as they're analytics, I'm not an analytics guy, and I know they play a part in every single sport. I know baseball is really high in them, but there's nothing like the eye test. All right, there's nothing like the eye test. All right, when you get a guy who's has a lot of experience in a specific sport, they got to see him. You got to see him, and you know what? And there's a feel, and you know what? There's an energy you get too when you go there. But there's an energy you get. You see a guy. Okay, I'm impressed by his size. Let me see what. Oh, okay, I see that. You see and you feel a certain way when you, or a certain way good or a certain way bad when you see a guy that you're anxious to see, and you watch him practice. Now look at the stats. Now look at what he did last year in college or with another team. When you actually watch him practice, is that true? You get that same feeling?
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can get. I mean, as fans going to the camps, it's good to see how they're looking. I mean, we've heard about how they've had a nice training camp. The connection with Justin Fields, DJ Moore has been there. I want to see it, man. I want to see what's going on there. I want to see how the old line comes together. I want to see how Wright looks at right tackle, how Braxton Jones looks over there at left tackle. I want to see how these guys are all coming together as a team, because they're coming off a 3-win team a year ago, but man, the optimism is pretty high right now for Bears fans.
It really is, and it's funny you threw the offensive lineman in there first. Such an offensive lineman you are, but you're right. You want to see Darnell Wright, pun intended. So you want to see him. Is he able to handle his teammates, true NFL guys? Braxton Jones, is he able to anchor? That was probably his only and biggest, but still probably his major biggest flaw last year was the inability to anchor. So has he done enough in the weight room this year to be solid? I'm not asking him to be an all-pro. I'm not asking him to be a Hall of Famer. I'm asking him to be solid and let Justin know that his backside is covered. So we're anxious to see that, because if that happens, wow, this offense could be really, really, really good, because he was a great run blocker. That dude could get out and run, especially on those zone stretches. He'll hit that defensive end, get up to the second level. Great run blocker. But if he can pass, block, and anchor, holy cow, that means this offensive line is going to be pretty, pretty, pretty good, especially from the backside.
Yeah, I got a feeling Jones will be pretty good. I mean, he was very self-aware of his deficiencies.
He was.
He talked about it in the offseason. He knows what he needed to work on, and Pro Football Focus has their true pass set grades, right? It's not just your overall grade as a pass blocker. They actually grade you specifically on when it's a true pass set. And Braxton Jones got better as the year went on. Again, the bull rush was an issue, but his overall technique improved as the year went on. He got better as a pass blocker. So, like you said, man, it's exciting to see how he grows and how he took that off season, because he was strength training, but he was also doing stuff with his technique as well. So I want to see where he is.
I do too. Talk to me about this offensive line. Since we started there, we'll stick with them. There's a couple of moving pieces. Okay. Tevin is on the left side. And so which side do you think is better? Because they brought in Nate Davis, who is another guy who's kind of nasty as well. You could be an offensive lineman who's good, really good, even Hall of Fame, and not necessarily be nasty. All right. Nate Davis is good and nasty. All right. Darnell Wright has a mean streak in him. We've seen it in college. We saw they had to tell Tevin, you cannot put people in the third row. Sideline is fine. Third row, a little too much, kid. Okay. He's a great run blocker. We just talked about Braxton Jones being a great run blocker. Which side do you think is going to be the better side to run, left or right, coming up this season?
I think probably the left side, which is a little bit different. Old school football was you want to run. Most teams are right-handed. You run to the right side. That's old school football. That has really changed. Through the years. Teams don't want to show their tendencies, so they kind of mix it up. But the way the Bears are lined up here, with Wright when he was in college, his pass blocking was outstanding. His run blocking was more consistent. So I think he needs to clean up some of his technique there as a run blocker. But you said the left side, man. Tevin Jenkins, Braxton Jones, those guys are maulers. I like Tevin Jenkins going to the left side. You talk about muscle memory for these players, and Tevin Jenkins, yes, he played last year at right guard, but he played, the left side a little bit in college. He played the left side a little bit with the Bears the first season. So that muscle memory, it's starting to get really ingrained in him last year. But the fact that he's had the entire offseason to kind of get over there, he's used to what he's doing now on the left side. He'll have all training camp now here. So it should be exciting because Tevin Jenkins last year was really good. I mean, he was really good as a first-year guard. And I think he'll be even better now that he's settled in. And he knows. I mean, it seemed like he didn't want to be a guard last year. There was some drama. Who knows the real behind-the-scenes story? But at some point, he bought in. At some point, he started mauling dudes. And then this year, man, of course, he's all bought in at left guard, and let's go.
That's a great point. There was some resistance. But once he figured out, look, this is where you're going to play, and I'm assuming, of course, because we don't know, like you said, but I'm assuming that that's probably what happened. Like, I want to do this. Like, all right, well, then you're going to sit your ass down. All right, you're going with the second team. He's like, okay, uncle, uncle, I call uncle. I'll go to the left, to the guard, and he showed out. I think he took his anger, his frustration out on the field, which is great. And he wasn't undisciplined, which could be a big problem, especially if you're playing under circumstances that you're not exactly happy about. He was disciplined. He played to the echo of the whistle. Okay. Stopped immediately, came back, did it again. I really like this kid. I really think this guy could really push for all-pro status this year. And if his pass block and his run block match up this year again, he just might. And that is huge when you have an offensive lineman, and hopefully a couple more, but at least one offensive lineman making it to the Pro Bowl, whatever that's going to be this year, or being named All-Pro. That's a huge thing for a team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he has all-pro potential, obviously. I think when they drafted him, they looked at him and, a lot of analysts had him pegged as the best pass blocking tackle in the draft. So
it did.
I think he has Pro Bowl potential. And I know we talk about, trying to, be chill on the Braxton Jones hype, but man, I really liked what I saw of him last year. I think he has, I don't think he'll get there quite this year, but, you look at his size, his athleticism, again, we talk about his one issue was the anchor. That's fixable. That's fixable through technique and through strength training. So, I'm excited. I mean, this O-line, they have a chance to go from one of the worst units last year in all of football to, possibly a top 10 unit this year.
Top 10. Okay. I definitely give them top half. Easily top half. But I think with depending on how well they gel, they could be top 10. And I think that's a huge thing. And if this offensive line goes from where they were last year, okay, to top half, it got God willing, top 10. Talk to me about what that's going to do for that guy, Justin something or other, who we heard talk. But more importantly, the running game. Because we got 3 stud running backs, they're all fighting for something different. All right, you got Khalil Herbert, who's like, oh, shit, I got a veteran, Deontay Foreman. I got a rookie. He's fighting to stay relevant. You got Deontay Foreman, who's like, look, I'm fighting for a job for another contract. And you got a rookie, like, I'm fighting for respect. So you got 3 guys who are hungry. First of all, hats off to Ryan Poles for getting 3 guys who have their own reasons for being hungry and adamant about doing well, but also getting this offensive line to the point where, wow, we can do some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the O-line, like you said, was a good run blocking unit last year. So if they continue building on that, the Bears they lost David Montgomery, but I think the running back room is in a better place as far as running the ball this year. You got 3 guys that, presumably you can really count on. You can keep them fresh. You can attack defenses with fresh legs nonstop. You didn't mention Travis Homer, who the Bears signed to kind of be more of a special teams guy, but man, when he was in Seattle, man, a lot of fans are sleeping on him. He was their designated third down guy because he was so smart as a pass blocker. He knew where the blitz was coming from, and he's a pretty good athlete. He can catch the ball out of the backfield too. So I'm not sure how much they'll play for, but you'll have 3 guys active each game day, and you can just attack defense is nonstop with these fresh legs. Of course, Justin Fields, a good run game always helps a young quarterback. The Bears are going to want to do some read option stuff, some RPO stuff. So, of course, the threat of him running, the threat of the handoff there, it's just going to open up passing lanes for Justin Fields. And then I think the way the receiving corps has been built up, man, I'm not sure he'll get the 4,000 yards this year, but I think he'll make a run.
Interesting. I say 32 to 35.
That's where I'm at, about the same ballpark.
Yeah. In a perfect world, in a great season, he'll get 4,000. If but that means that chemistry's got to click. But you know what? Here's the cool part. Like they've been working together off season. Like you already feel, and here's why I think it's a great thing, and it's very possible. As well as I do, you got to like the guys you play with. All right. I'll put it this way: you don't have to, but you do much better when you like the guys you play with. You hang out with them. All my championship teams with the Thunder and the Chargers, man, dude, we would hang out till all hours of the night, drinking beer, talking shit, just all dancing, acting a fool. All right. You see that they have a bond, a chemistry. DJ Moore had 25 quarterbacks in his 5 years in Carolina. All right. And none of them were good. And Aging Cam and PJ Walker, you know what I mean? Like all these guys. Never a set quarterback, never a legit quarterback. All right. Justin Fields never had that stud receiver. He was like, damn, I want my Ohio State days back where I had my pick of stud receivers who always, Wilson, Olave, and all these other guys. I think that need that each of them they found in each other. And I think that bond that they have, that you could see, like they just, first and foremost, hold up, stop the presses. First and foremost, DJ Moore's my man. Wearing that red White Sox hat, take that, Cub fans. You can have your stupid victory yesterday. We'll take DJ Moore's Sox hat. I digress. I think that the needs that each of those guys was looking for, they found in each other. And I think that's what's really going to make this duo really, really, really potent.
Yeah, I mean, they've talked about it this whole offseason, the chemistry they have, how they it took them a while to get there. But I think, maybe a blessing in disguise having Mooney and Claypool missing a lot of the OTAs and the minicamp, because that gave Justin Fields more time to really focus on DJ Moore. You don't want to see him force feeding the ball to his top receiver, but the fact that they needed that extra time to kind of get the chemistry built. And you kind of saw it in the clip you played in the open there with those guys at the press conference, how they're they're having fun with each other. So he's a legit number one, man. Like you said, Teddy Bridgewater, Kyle Allen. I mean, Baker Mayfield. I mean, he has not had a legitimate quarterback in front of him. And yes, Justin Fields has to prove he's a legitimate passer in the NFL. But I think that's one of the reasons why he was voted on the NFL's top 100 list, because players know, man. The players saw who he was in college. The players know it's coming. They realized what he had to work with last year, and he still was, had some success. So I think it's coming. I think he's gonna have a nice year as a passer this year. I think the running will still be there. They may not call as many designed runs this year, which I think is good. Let him get his rushing yards off scrambles, because he's electrifying.
Yeah, and talk to me about him. All right, DJ Moore's not gonna be his only guy. All right, he can't throw. I mean, I hope it's like Cutler and Marshall, because man, that was fun back in the day when Cutler's like, you know what, he's triple team. Marshall's going to come out with it. And he did. Yeah. And he did. We were just like, this is what a true number one receiver looks like. Yeah. But he's got some other guys who are extremely talented as well. Talk to me about Chase Claypool. What the hell was all that situation with he's on the PUP list? I was pissed. And then, you know what? We're just kidding. Psych. What do you think that was about? 24 hours on the PUP list.
I mean, you look around the league, several teams did that with guys. It's more of a transactional thing. I think it may be something where the Bears just had to do it because Chase Claypool did not practice during OTAs and the veteran minicamp in June. So the last time the Bears saw him at Halas Hall, he was unable to practice. He had since been cleared. Chase Claypool actually reported early. He didn't wait till vet report day. He went into Halas Hall early. So they had a chance to look at him. They put him on the PUP list for a day. I wrote about it at the site. I'm like, I knew fans were going to go crazy about it. I'm like, this is going to be a short stay. They just want to get him checked out, make sure he's good. And he was cleared the next day by the doctor. So it's good to go. I think it's just the optics of it are bad because there's already this drama around Chase Claypool because of the trade last year, the injury last year. the modeling stuff in the UK. There are just some fans that just aren't happy with the whole Chase Claypool situation. So the optics of it sucked for the young man, but that's just the business of football. You know, they had to do that probably to cover themselves, go on the PUP. Our doctors check you out. You're good to go. You're off the PUP. Let's go.
Okay. Yeah. Cause I was annoyed, dude. I was like, and I was pissed. I'm like, you know, you're traveling to Europe. And then I right afterwards, I'm like, well, wait a minute. They wouldn't have had him travel to Europe, you know, with the
He
NFL.
ran those
Remember,
camps. Yeah. He ran those camps for the
in
Bears.
addition to modeling, yeah, the NFL sent him out there. I'm like, all right, they wouldn't have sent him out there if he was injured. They'd be like, all right, look, you got to come back and stay in rehab. NFL knows that. So I caught myself, the fan of me took over for a second. Yeah. All right. Not the analyst, the former coach and player, the fan in me took over. But I'm looking forward to him. It's a contract year for him. It's a contract year for Darnell Mooney as well. So you got two guys who are really, really, really hungry, looking for a big time season because they're looking for that next contract. And I get it. But he's some tight ends. All right. Cole Kmet took a big step forward last year. We need him to build on that and take another step forward. Tunyon, the young man from Green Bay, what do you have, 7, 8 tutties last year? Dude, bring that production over here. Oh my goodness. Talk to me about those guys. And then that rookie, Velus Jones, who hasn't dropped the damn thing, dude. From all the people up there, they said the ball hasn't even come close to the ground because he's feeling pressure. Because they just drafted this guy, Tyler Scott, who's every time we saw him was running away from people. Talk to me about Justin Fields, and with all these weapons, how well do you think he can do? I know you said 32, 35, but is there part of you in the back saying, okay, I'm just saying 32, 35 because I don't want to put myself out there for 38, 39, 4,000, or stick with 32, 35?
Yeah, I think it's possible. I mean, you know, it all depends how things click. I mean, the thing with the Bears now, as opposed to years past, they're having actual professional receiving corps, and DJ Moore really sets them all up. It lets everyone kind of fall into their place. You know, DJ Moore is the number one. Chase Claypool, now you're starting X. Darnell Mooney's going to slide into the slot. Velus Jones, you know, he's a guy that, you know, 4.3 speed, great with the ball in his hands. Now they can kind of maybe scheme him up a couple touches. They're not expecting him to be a guy. You mentioned Scott, the rookie, who's good, again, has legit 4.4 speed. So, you know, there's some weapons here. You know, you're not counting on Equanimeous St. Brown and Dante Pettis to be your playmakers. You know, nothing against those guys, but the talent level is not quite where they should be as far as what you want to do. And you talk about the tight ends, man. Cole Kmet he was drafted like at 20 years old. So he's still one of the younger players in the team, and he's going into his 4th season. And like you said, he did improve last year. He got a little better as a route runner. The contested catch thing, you know, that's something, you know, you're still working on, but you know, he's not an elite athlete, but it's not like he's slow. I mean, he's a 4.7 guy. He can get down the seam. You know, he can find a spot in the zone and make a catch. And then Tunyon, man, coming from the offense, he knows the scheme well. I think 2 years ago, before his ACL injury, he had like 11, 12 touchdowns. He came back last year, had like 50 some odd catches. So he's back. You know, he's from the area. He's excited to be playing for his hometown team. So it's again, this receiving core, the tight end group, the running backs, you know, there are legit weapons here for Justin Fields in this offense.
Unbelievable for the amount of weapons he has. And I'm looking forward to it. And people, you know, I love how people up to the skies are like, well, now Justin Fields, all the excuses are done. I don't ever think he had excuses, dude. I don't think, you know,
who he is, you know.
It's, you know, you sit there and we watch, you see a guy, you know, EQ St. Brown last year. First of all, the play before EQ St. Brown's ball right through the hands was a no interference on Chase Claypool. That was bullshit. All right, dude pulled him down. You were standing right there. You're watching the play. How you not call it? I don't know. But then EQ St. Brown with the ball through the hands. The other, you know, well noted, the you know, plays that receivers didn't make. People are always talking about those things, and they're not talking about the ball dropped right over the outside shoulder of Darnell Mooney, or the ball outstretched arms of the defense, but to the tight end. People, why do people love to say what Justin Fields isn't, as opposed to what we've seen he can be with talent around him?
That's just part of it. Is the Bears are an easy target. You know, it's a passionate fan base. So man, you go on Twitter, man, if you on social media, you turn on ESPN, you know, there's professional trolls out there just taking jabs at Justin Fields because they know we're going to rally around our guy. We're going to go out there. They're going to get the clicks. They're going to get the likes, the interactions.
Colin Coward.
You know, yeah, Colin Coward. I mean, this is their gig, man. I mean, they're doing this for interaction. But like I said, man, the players know, man. The players know who this guy is. The Bears know who this guy is. The Bears made him earn it last year. That was an awful situation he was in. A terrible offensive line in front of him. There wasn't much around him as far as weapons. They were a really hardcore run first team because, they just didn't have the bodies to do much. But we saw Justin Fields, get in it. He overcame. And then I think at some point in the offseason, they're like, we're going all in. I mean, they kind of started that last year when they made the trade for Chase Claypool. They wouldn't have traded for Chase Claypool last year if they didn't think, we have our guy. Justin Fields is our guy, because they're giving up a second-round draft pick. And at the time, it wasn't 32, but it was still a pretty high draft pick they ended up trading to get Chase Claypool. So they knew then, and as the year went on, they just strengthened that resolve that they had in their guy. And then the offseason came, and, look at all the moves they built around him, and exciting time again.
It really is. Let's go over to the defense, because I could talk offense all day because I love the weapons, and I do love the offensive line, and I know that's near and dear to your heart. Let's go to the defense. Excuse me. This defensive line. Give me your thoughts on it. All right, it's here now. All right, we didn't get a 3-tech. We didn't get an edge rusher. Hey, put it this way, and I take that back. We did get edge rusher. We didn't get any productive edge rushers or a productive 3-tech. Are you comfortable with what they did? Or are you still expecting, like many people, for them to have a signing, which is not uncommon? All right, guys, wait till camp starts and then they sign. Give me your thoughts on the front line, the defensive line.
Yeah, I think there's still a move coming. I mean, you've heard the Bears talk about it the entire offseason. Yannick Ngakoue is a guy that's out there. He's been linked to the Bears recently. Justin Houston has been linked to the Bears recently. A lot of it is, again, it's a two-way street. These guys are waiting for the best opportunity for them. They want to maximize their earning potential. But now camps are open. Some of those teams that maybe they're waiting on aren't calling anymore. So a move will happen at some point, but the Bears can't address everything in one offseason. They went pretty hardcore with some other spots. When the edge was there in the draft, it wasn't the right time to reach for a guy. So they kind of let the board fall to them. They built on the interior of the D line. Dexter, Pickens. I think they're content with what they have there. They didn't sign a stud 3-tech either in free agency, but I think they like Justin Jones coming back to kind of man that spot at least for a season. Andrew Billings, the nose tackle, the veteran they signed, I think they'll be good there. I think the interior will give him a good push. And then DeMarcus Walker, man, he's coming off a career year last year, which is a huge thing. We got to see, who is he? Is he still an ascending player coming into his own, or is he just the same guy that's, the last year? I mean, he looks great, man. He's doing all the workouts. He's talking the talk. He's walking the walk. Let's see what happens in camp, because right now he's their top defensive end. He's their top edge. He's their top, pass rush threat. Unless one of the young guys that have been, holdovers is going to kind of, come through. But the way it is right now, they're really counting on DeMarcus Walker to be that guy.
So real quick before we let you go, then talk to me about, they did fortify the middle. They did fortify that middle where you can get pushed. Not necessarily a sack, but you could push. And talk to me how that could help this secondary, which was the strength of the team last year and got even stronger with the drafting of Stevenson and the young kid from Minnesota. As an offensive lineman, you know it. Quarterbacks told you don't let that guy, keep him out of my face. Keep him out of my face. I need to follow through. All right. Talk to me how that strengthened front two, I guess, the 3-and-1 technique, how that could really help this pass rush by not allowing the quarterback to be able to, 1, step up, or 2, follow through on some of his throws.
I mean, Justin Jones coming back last year, he was their primary 3-tech for the most part. He kind of played up and down that line, but he kind of brings a little bit of that penetration ability. I think he had like 12 quarterback hits last year. He had like 4 batted passes. So he understands getting into passing lanes. Andrew Billings, man, who's one of the strongest guys in the NFL. I mean, he was a high school powerlifting champion, one of the strongest guys in the state of Texas. So he kind of brings that push there. And then you talk about, Zach Pickens and Javon Dexter. Both these guys were 5-star recruits coming out of high school. They had some up and down, time in college there for whatever reason, with Pickens kind of been doing some scheme stuff, how he was used with Dexter.
Multiple coaches for him too. Multiple coaches for Pickens.
That matters to a player.
Yeah,
you want to be comfortable. So they're coming into a scheme now. They know their role. And I'm excited to see what those guys do, because Dexter, man, this guy is one of the most athletic, one of the strongest dudes coming out of the draft. And, the Bears have been raving about him. They're knocking him, all fans. Oh, he's slow off the ball. Well, why is he slow off the ball? Oh, it's the scheme. They ask him to read and react. It's a different kind of style he was playing. But you watch some of his tape at Florida, man, he's taking on a double, triple team like it's nothing. He's holding up 2 blockers and just holding his ground. You know, he has a great anchor. He has a great push. You know, it may take him a little while to kind of get used to the Bears scheme. You know, they want it to be a more of a one-gap penetrator.
Yeah.
But it's there, man. I mean, he has all the upside in the world. So it's, you know, and then of course you push up the middle, you get the quarterback off his spot, and now maybe DeMarcus Walker, who's not the fastest edge in the league, but he's fast enough to get around her if you get the quarterback off his spot, and now you're picking up sacks.
Lester, you got me fired up, baby. Here, I'm fired up, especially with today's first practice, which I don't know what it's. I'm out south. It's raining out here.
It's raining. I'm up in Kenosha, right over the border. It's pouring and raining, lightning, crazy.
So they'll be in the Walter Payton Center, which was his birthday yesterday. Yesterday was Walter Payton's birthday. I don't know if you knew that. Okay, hey, great. Appreciate it, Papa. Before you go though, let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
WindyCityGridiron.com. You can find me, of course, at Wiltfong JR. Our podcast stuff's all over the place, and our video stuff is actually at Second City Gridiron. So we got everything covered.
Great stuff, man. It is here. All the talk, all the other, it's over. All that talk is over. Now it is here, baby. I am fired. Oh man, we'll be in touch a lot more this season, man. Thanks a lot.
Sounds good. Yep, anytime.
Alrighty, guys. That's Les Jr. from Windy City Gridiron. Got me fired up. You know I get fired up about football season, baby. Woo! Ooh, I got the chills. You know, and they're multiplying. For all my Grease fans. Woo, Charlie. Well, listen, we're going to take a quick break. We'll talk a little more Bears. What we do want to mention the passing of one of the Chicago staples. Rings a bell. It carries a lot of weight in this city, and not just for sports. All right, he had another business as well that was extremely profitable and had them known throughout the city. So let's talk about that. We'll talk about that on the other side of the break. So let's take a quick break. Don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
Hey, it's your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
Time out. How are you feeling right now? Happy? Excited? Angry? Overwhelmed? One of the best things you can do for your mind health is to name what you're feeling. It can sharpen your awareness and help you talk about your feelings with someone you trust. Here are 3 questions to ask yourself. Where are your thoughts right now? In the past, the present, the future? Do you notice any sensations in your body? Is your heart beating fast? Is there a flutter in your stomach? Or are you fully relaxed? What do you need right now? Time with others? Time to yourself? Remember, there's power in this awareness. So find ways to identify what you're feeling today.
At a time when the news seems as subjective as the partisan politics dividing this country, independent professional journalism has become a resource people need to get the honest and accurate information for their lives. That's why I created JQuiltonReports.com. As a born and raised Chicagoan, I know this city better than anyone. So my investigative stories are all original, and they'll go deeper to expose the truth by using information obtained from public information databases and in-depth interviews with the movers and shakers. My future stories will introduce you to people and businesses who are changing the world, not just Chicago. My missing person stories will spotlight those who you don't hear about in the mainstream media who are often overlooked. If you want to hear my personal views on things around the world, check out my blog site, which is based off of factual information and my life experiences. There's also past episodes of my weekly sports podcast show, What's Up Cuz, that I host with my real-life cousin, Lance Irvin. So if you're looking for all this information and more, check out JQuiltonReports.com and follow me on Twitter at JQuilton.
Every day, we take steps to keep the people we love safe, but some health risks are easy to miss.
Ticks hiding in the yard can spread germs, like the ones that cause Lyme disease. Mice searching for food can spread bacteria that makes us sick. Mosquitoes lay eggs in standing water and can spread West Nile virus and more. Cockroaches are drawn to water in the home, leaving behind allergens that can trigger asthma attacks. Common pests can threaten our health. Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org.
I mean, it's never overrated to have chemistry with somebody. So, like me and Justin, we got chemistry on and off the field, so that's a plus. I mean, it is built, but it becomes natural over time. We had a few plays like that in this past OTA, so I want to say we're probably gonna keep that going. But I mean, it just built over time.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Those clips courtesy. Oh no, this is ChicagoBears.com. We didn't have to give courtesy for that one, but we did. Who cares? Forget about it. Who cares? You know what? Great stuff. You know, I like the. You see that there's a bond. All right, you see there's DJ Moore is a really cool dude. All right, as many of you know, I worked his camp a couple of weeks ago. Got to talk with him. His daughter was in my group. She was walking by, and I was like, "Hey, good morning, princess." And she's like, "Daddy, I want to stay in this group." So she stood in my group Saturday and Sunday and got to talk to him a little bit. Really cool, really cool dude. You can tell, you can see how him and Justin are vibing. You can see how him and Justin truly like each other. You know, it's very reminiscent of when B. Marsh and my man Cuddy got reunited here in Chicago. Marshall was happy, all right, before it went sour for whatever reason. They were happy. As I was talking to Lester, those two things that they were lacking. Okay. DJ Moore with a stable, legit quarterback, Justin with a legit number one receiver. They found that in each other. All right. They found that in each other. Hey, one of my best friends. All right. My fullback, Mark Micah. All right. Same thing. You know, I get it. You know, like there's so often I had Tony Bell as well. He was bigger than me when I was with the Chargers, but I didn't have him my entire career, my entire stint with the Chargers. So I had younger guys, smaller guys than me, because I played at like 210, 215. All right. I have a 185-pound guy blocking for me, and it's like, when I got to the Thunder, my guy Mark Micah, well, the guy was like 240. 250, and as he likes to say, he's light on his feet for a fat kid. So I had a fullback that could move. I had a fullback that could move. I had a fullback that can make shit happen, and it was fun. You know what I mean? It was great to see. I finally had someone that I could vibe with, and he and I are best friends. I was the best man at his wedding. Okay, his kids like my guy Junior. All right, they call me Uncle Shawn. And it's great. It's great. And you see that. I needed a fullback I needed that piece. He needed a running back who if he missed a block or as long as he got a hold of a guy, running back was going through. This is what Justin Fields and DJ Moore seem to have. All right, they seem to have with each other. And I'm excited. And, a lot of people say, yeah, you're just homers and this. And she already, you talk about, you're saying, you're kidding. And some of it's true. Some of it is our own thing. But also, I look at it, for the most part, I try to look at it from an analytical eye. Okay. But this is going to be a year that I would be surprised. I will be surprised if the Bears don't win 10 games. And don't get me wrong, Detroit's much better. And I know I always tease about Detroiting themselves. They start off the season, but when they get better, like Detroit's going to be good. All right. That's if we use the same logic that, everything that I'm talking about with Justin and second year in the system, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Well, you know what? Detroit, they're in their second or third year in their same system as well. Jared Goff is getting back some receivers. All right. The defense the culture that Dan Campbell has built up there, it's something to be concerned about. Something to definitely be concerned about. I mean, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But sticking with my Bears, I love it. I love it. You know, I love what they're doing. I love this thing. I love the competition. And notice all the positions that I talked about. You got guys fighting. Except for Justin Fields. He doesn't have to fight. Justin Fields needs to get everything together. He needs to sew everything up, smooth everything over. That's what he is. He don't need competition right now. He's a dude. But offensive line, you got people fighting. You still got the Tyree Carter. You still have Alex Leatherwood. You still they drafted the Gabe Hewer. You have other guys who want to play. You know, Doug Kramer, the center out of Illinois, they drafted. He wants to play. You got guys fighting. And I think and Ryan Poles talked about creating competition, and he's done it. Here's another thing he's done that he said he was going to do. And I know that's foreign to us, Bears fans. I know that's foreign to us, but this dude, when he says he wants to do, he does. He follows his approach. And remember, he's adamant about doing that. F you, this is my plan. And I'm sticking to it adamantly, regardless of what you think. And he's done it. In the secondary, he's created competition, but not only created competition, he's created depth. He's insulated himself in case they can't sign Jalen Johnson or any of the other quarter. You got young quarterbacks who will have a year in the system. So when they come back the following season, they're familiar with it. They can take a step forward because now they're not learning a new system. They're comfortable in the system they're in. He's got that in the secondary. He's got that in the defensive line. He's got that with the linebackers. You know, and these linebackers are signed through the next couple seasons. So it's not like they even have to fight. They have to fight because, I mean, they're going to start, the guys they signed in the offseason, but you got Noah Sewell. You got Jack Sanborn. You think they're happy now that they're going to be, or especially Sanborn, you think he's happy that he's going to be second string? Because they very rarely play with three linebackers, mostly in a nickel. So now he's got to fight. Ryan Poles and Cornelius and Eberflus have done a phenomenal job. Mostly Ryan Poles. Eberflus was setting the culture, phenomenal job. Poles was drafting the talent, getting the talent in here, phenomenal job. Phenomenal job. What are you saying here, Nomad? Several moves coming up as camp ensues. Flus become more confident in what they see in camp. It's possible. The swing for the fences trade. I think we might see that next year, but I do think there are more moves coming. I do think after a week or so, we have to wait longer because you don't really see anything in camp now until we get the pads on, which is next Wednesday, I believe. Do not quote me, but I believe it's next Wednesday. So if they do that next Wednesday, you know, say by next weekend, say next Saturday, like you see a guy Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You see a guy 4 days, and like, okay, I don't feel like this guy's going to take a step forward. It could be wrong, but usually not. Then they might make a move. Or if they feel like, oh man, we got this guy, I think this guy's, then maybe they make a move and say, we'll add. That dude, are you reading my mind? Are you reading my mind? Because someone had mentioned him last week. I want to say Thursday or Friday. I'm like, dude, that would be great. Get a Danielle Hunter. That would be great. That would be great. But yeah, if they did, ooh, Charlie. Yeah, that'll instantly upgrade his defensive line. Instantly. And then with all the youngsters they got too, they could. You know, the one thing that how can I put this? And I know Ryan Poles is looking at the big picture. But there's a situation where you strike while the iron's hot. And if you feel, and this is where metrics go out the window. If you feel like this is your best shot, you got a vibe, you have something, and you need to be all in, like baseball. Like you think you're all in, you got a shot, and you go get that reliever. You go overpay for that reliever, or you go pay for that big power stick, the left-handed bat, whatever. if they see in camp that that Dominique Robinson has improved, all right, these rookies are good. They may bring in one guy just to add, because if you have the one thing about defensive linemen, they got to stay fresh. So you're going to rotate them. And when you rotate these guys, if the drop off isn't that drastic, there's a problem for offensive linemen. There's a problem because offensive linemen don't rotate a lot. Okay? And if they do, they damn sure don't rotate as much as defensive linemen do. Okay? There's a lot of different, and when you rotate, all defensive linemen are different. So one guy you might have to deal with his strength. Can you deal with that? Or another guy you might have to deal with his speed. Can you deal with that? Another guy you might have to deal with explosiveness. He comes off the ball really, really, really well. Can you get that? Some guys will have the whole package. You got to deal with strength, speed, and explosion. That's a big problem. And when they keep rotating, you got to go back to focusing on speed. You got to go back to focusing on power. You got to go back to focusing on strength. You got to go back to focusing on all of them because this guy's in. It's a big issue. It could be a big problem for linemen. I am excited, to say the least. I'm very confident in Ryan Poles' ability to assess talent. And trust me, just because one guy doesn't make it doesn't mean he can't assess talent. There's no GM in the history of any sport that has drafted a guy, signed a guy as a free agent, or traded for a guy that the guy did not pan out the way they wanted. There's no one. No one is 1,000% as a GM. So before people come at me like, oh, well, this guy traded for him, he sucked. They traded for him, he didn't do well. Okay, that's part of the game. That's part of the game. He's gonna have his misses. He's gonna have his hits, and his hits have to be so much bigger than his misses, so that you forget about the misses. Forget about the players that didn't live up to the expectation or the standard that we wanted to have them to have here. Cornelius, I am along those lines too. I think that run game, and I think that's so important. I think that's so important because if you stop one thing, you have to stop the run. I think if you don't stop the run, you're screwed. As good as the defensive secondary is, if you know it's coming, you know it's a passing down, and you can't stop the run. You don't know if they're going to run the ball. You don't know if they're going to play. If they play action, you're screwed. If they play action, you're really, really screwed because now you have to honor the run because they've been destroying you. And oh shoot, it's not a run, it's a pass. Now you got lanes that are a lot wide, a lot cleaner, a lot wider, and it doesn't do anything any good. I think stopping the run is going to be huge. If they do that, they can work on some other stuff. And I think they can dial up some pressure some other ways. So it's going to be interesting as this moves on. One of the things we didn't get to talk about in the top of the morning segment that I did want to talk about, Rocky Wirtz, the principal owner of the Chicago Blackhawks, passed away yesterday at the age of 70. This is Bill Wirtz's son, the original owner of the Blackhawks. He was a forward thinker. All right. Him and his dad thought differently about this franchise. Okay. I don't even think his dad's body was cold before he decided to put all Blackhawk games on TV. That was probably not the biggest, but that was one of the most influential things he did, was getting the Blackhawks on TV. If you remember, the Blackhawks only aired road games. And Bill Wirtz was so freaking wrong. So wrong. When in his thought process, because his philosophy or his thought process was, if they can see the game on TV at home, they're not going to want to come to the stadium. That could be the furthest thing from the truth. If you saw the game and saw how exciting it was, guess what? You're going to want to go down and be part of that. Rocky Wirtz, his first move was getting all Blackhawk games, getting their home games on television, which is why they had that sellout streak for how many years? 7 years, 10 years, something like that. Let me find it because I don't like not knowing. That was his first move. Oh, here you go. How long was it? 13 years. March 8th, 2008. March 8th, 2008. And it ended, what? October 24th, 2021. 13-year run. A 13-year run. That was insane. A 13-year run of complete sellouts. And the thing about it, they delivered. They brought you 3 Stanley Cups. It should have been 4. Okay. They opened hockey to a culture, to cultures that weren't necessarily into hockey. All right. We all saw that the one black guy that was walking down the street, and it was a morning interview, and where he said, man, he goes, the Blackhawks got black people watching hockey. And they did. Bars were loving it. My guy Eddie over on Output loved it. And he's right down the street from the United Center. So they were packed. He had the horn. Every time they scored, they play the horn. They start playing. Oh, Jesus. Well, I can't believe that I can't remember the name of their song. I can't think. What's the name of the? I can't even think. It's been so long since they've been in the playoffs. I can't remember the name of the song, but they were throwing that. You know what I mean? And it was fun. All right, he did a great job. Chelsea Dagger. There you go. That's the song. The Chelsea Dagger song. But by the same token, you have to. It wasn't all good. All right, he was at the top when the whole scandal came out. Sexual abuse scandal. Okay. And how he didn't get affected by it is amazing. It's amazing. Everybody underneath him felt the wrath and the repercussions, but not him. All right, Brett Aldrich was a former video coach who was accused of sexual assault, of assaulting a couple of prospects. And he claimed he had no knowledge. Like, you mean to tell me that the owner, when they had meetings with the head coach, the general manager, the president about this guy, and the owner didn't know about it? The owner didn't know about those meetings? Come on now. So he got away scot-free, but he was still the man in charge under that. Or when that happened. So his legacy is an interesting one. All right, 3 Stanley Cups, should have been 4. but also the crazy sex scandal or sexual abuse scandal. It was a great run. All right, 2008 to even 16, 17 is when it kind of started to decline, and then it something we hadn't seen here in Chicago since the Bulls when they were winning 2 3-peats, 91, 91, 92, 93, 96, 97, 98. And he took them out of, and who did you say? Yeah, Junior. You said Wirtz was a dinosaur in the modern age. Yeah, he was. Or he was refusing. He was, yeah, he was a dinosaur. Yeah. Cornelius, you're right. Threw nickels around like manhole covers. That was a famous phrase they use about Papa Bear. Same thing with Bill Veeck. All right. But it just wasn't forward progressive thinking, and they weren't on the cutting edge. They weren't on the forefront of what fans wanted. So it's a legend, definitely a legend here in Chicago. And don't forget that Wirtz have their distributing company, the alcohol. They have a distribution company, so you got to go through one of those. They're one of the 3 or 4 vendors you got to go through. And they got Wirtz Beverage. Yeah, that's huge, huge, huge here in the Chicagoland area. So they're making money hand over fist. So rest in peace. Thoughts and prayers go out to his family, the Wirtz family, on the passing of Rocky, who brought this team out of the prehistoric age, got them to the forefront, gave the city 3, should have been 4 Stanley Cup championships, signed a couple of future Hall of Famers, Duncan Keith. He didn't sign them. They were underneath. It was all on his watch. All right, Duncan Keith, Jonathan Toews, Patrick Kane. Okay. Probably 3 Hall of Famers right there on that squad. So, again, from Sports Zone Chicago, thoughts and prayers go out to the Wirtz family. But it's clearing up over here. I wonder how the weather is up north. If they're going to be outside, they're probably just going to be inside the Walter Payton Center because it was raining up there. I know Lester is in Kenosha, so he's right across the border, probably like 10 minutes away from Lake Forest. So I wonder if the weather's cleared up over there like it's cleared up over here. Like I said, I think they'll probably go inside. This makes sense. And it's supposed to get hot too. The sun's supposed to come out, so that'll help. That'll dry up the fields, and it should be out there again tomorrow. Junior lives up north. He's over on Harlem and Higgins. Oh, they're in the Payton Center. Yeah, I figured as much. That's cool. Yeah, I figured as much. Nomad, I'll DM you about later today. I'll DM you because I have a situation that I'm monitoring. So I'll let you know about 3:00 today. But man, I don't know how you cannot be excited. If you're a Cub fan, you're equally excited. You got the Cubs trying to get in the playoffs, trying to win the division and get in the playoffs. If you're a Bears fan, Bears football season is here. All right, Bears football season is here. And, we just talked about with Lester and with you guys here in the chat, there's a lot of high expectations. All right, and people don't, and let's not forget, competition brings out the best in everybody. Okay? Now, just because you didn't sign a stud 3-tech doesn't mean that we won't have great play from the 3-tech position. It doesn't mean that. Doesn't mean that at all. Okay? It could be a duet. It could be I just lost the word for it. A platoon. There you go. Because competition forces people to raise their level of play. And if you're at a certain level and you see a guy who's on your tails, your level of play is going to increase. Well, you know what? If your level of play increases, guess what? The other level of play, the level of play from the other guy doesn't want to get left behind, he's going to increase. And I'm not saying we don't have it, a stud 3 tech. What I'm saying is we don't have the big name 3 tech that people are like, okay, our 3 tech situation is taken care of. All right. Like if we signed Deron Payne last year, we're like, okay, great. Our 3 tech situation is taken care of. And it doesn't mean that we don't have a stud 3 tech. We might have, you know what? Here's the thing that I talked about. What if we just have some really good above average to between above average and great defensive tackles? Not great, not superstardom, not Hall of Famers, but what if we have 2 or 3 above average to great 3 techs? It's a big difference. That makes this defense a hell of a lot better. Because we like to put people in categories. He's a stud. He's this, he's this, he's this. You give them a label. But sometimes you got players who are middling, okay? They're not, I'm in NBA. You talk about stars and superstars. You got stars and superstars. And you got people who are kind of like in between, kind of like a DeMar, like a Zach. What if we get some defensive linemen who are in between star and superstar or above average and great? And we rotate those guys. That's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother issue. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But listen, 2 hours is coming and gone. I want to thank my guest, Saul Rodriguez, for coming out talking baseball with us. Cub fans, you should be happy as pigs in slop. Also concerned, are you going to trade? Are you going to be buyers? Are you going to be sellers? What are you going to do by the deadline next week? And I want to thank Lester Wilfong Jr. from Windy City Gridiron for coming on talking Bears with us. So, guys, we'll see you on Friday. Yesterday, my birthday was awesome. I was spending at the water park most of the day. I was tired. I'm still tired this morning. Tired this morning. Being in the water definitely takes something out of you. But I digress. Guys, we'll see you on Friday. Same bad time, same bad channel. So for everyone here at Sports Zone Chicago, I'm your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra. Peace. And we out.